A clock with hands which is driven from the atomic clock via a radio signal in the UK. Essentially then it's just pieces of plastic, 3 pieces of plastic to build it up, 2 coils then which work to work the motors, an aerial here, piece of ferrite rod I assume, just with a coil on it, a printed circuit board with 3 pads at this side here for connecting on to this rubber strip here, and the 3 pins which come from the back and allow us to set it. It's also got 3 screws that hold the circuit board down, but unfortunately the circuit board is also soldered onto these 2 coils, which unfortunately I messed up and I didn't fully release them from the circuit board. So when I took the circuit board off, I took the pins out of the coils and broke the wire, meaning that it would be very difficult to get them connected again. So essentially this is now junk, unfortunately. It also then has 3 shafts with gears on that come out the front onto which the hands go. So we have the second hand and then the minute hand and the hour hand. We have another gear to put together the minute and hour hand, so they are connected together. We have a nut and a washer to go on the front to fasten it into its case, and a big lump of rubber that goes behind to cushion it on the case. The 3 pieces of plastic then, we have the main front piece, we have the back piece, and then we have this middle piece into which these motors go. The motors then have cogwheels on them and a magnet underneath, which then, when this is energizes the magnet, which turns it a fraction of a turn. So essentially that's all it consists of. If we want to look at the mechanical part, at the gears, then here, probably won't be able to see it, we have the 2 motors. This motor here driving this magnet under here, then drives this pinion, drives this gear, and this one goes through to the other side where it drives the minute hand and then the hour hand. This motor here just seems to drive this wheel here, which is the second hand. So this second hand then is driven, that's upside down, so it isn't going to work, but is driven from this wheel here. If we turn it over very carefully without dropping everything off, then we can see how the second hand shaft comes through here, and then onto that hopefully we can put the minute hand, and then we have a gear wheel which goes from the minute hand to the hour hand, which goes on to this little peg here, and that then is driven from the minute hand by this small pinion here that drives that, and then when we put the hour hand on, it goes over the top and is driven by this pinion on this gear here and there. We can see that we've got a hole through here, and that's where the metal peg goes through that stops the mechanism turning in transit, and the metal peg itself must be removed before we put the cell in, else we're going to have problems with it. So that then is the mechanical part. If we want to look at the electronic part, try and put that somewhere so it doesn't all fall apart. Then if we look at the electronics, what we've got is a circuit board, PCB. There's this plastic on here which must have some function. It has the 3 pads for the buttons and not much else on this side. A few tracks, so it's a double-sided board, through plated obviously, going through. Nicely laid out. On the other side then we've got 3 blobs. Presumably they've got some sort of integrated circuit underneath. A couple of crystals, presumably one for the radio and one for the clock. We also have this gizmo here, which I wonder if it's an LED, but can't see the point of it. So it must have some function that I haven't managed to work out. The power comes in either through these pads here, or we can connect down the side for the power and the 3 buttons. At the other side I've connected on leads, so these essentially just go straight to these leads in here when I was testing it. That more or less seems to be all there is involved in it. The problem I had was with these pins here, where I didn't fully remove the solder, and when I tried to take the circuit board off, it pulled out the pin, where are we? This pin from the coil, and as the wire's so fine, probably won't be able to put it back together again, so I'm not going to even bother. There are also 2 points here which I had to unsolder, which went to these 2 leads here, which go to whatever's underneath there, which I'm not too sure about. It does say something on the board. There is some, I think, on the board. Is it emitter and collector? So I'm not too sure what that is either. But yes, a very nicely made circuit. Seems to be of good construction. This one's dated 2021 08/16. So if you want to take one apart, make sure that you've got these fully removed before you try to lift the circuit board off. Yep, I've just made myself a load of junk, but it's been interesting and I've enjoyed pulling it apart. So it's bye now, bye.